11th. I'm First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk, where we get together every day, 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Fairly quiet here at home, but unfortunately elsewhere across other parts of the country, the weather overnight was terrible as an outbreak of severe weather fired up. We want to check in with the Today Show and Morgan Chesky, who filed this report just a little bit earlier. Take a listen.
Will be a devastating day for so many communities following this massive storm outbreak. You mentioned Mayfield, Kentucky. The governor there saying at least 100 people were inside that factory when a tornado struck, and 12 people may have perished at that one business alone. Meanwhile, the extent of this devastation only expected to rise with daybreak.
More than 100 people were inside a candle factory when the tornado ripped through Mayfield, Kentucky.
And it blew the house away. The only thing standing was the bathroom and the hall.
Governor Andy Beshear believes at least a dozen people could be lost at that business alone.
It's very hard, really tough, and we're praying for each and every one of those families.
Now, Kentucky officials believe this storm is one of the most severe in the state's history.
We believe our death toll from this event will exceed 50 Kentuckians, probably end up closer to 70 to 100 lost lives.
The powerful twister demolished the Mona Manor nursing home in Arkansas, trapping 20 people inside overnight. At least one person is reported dead and 5 seriously injured. A massive emergency response rushed to the site and were able to bring the rest of the residents out safely. A second nursing home in Truman was damaged. Power lines down there, the roads still blocked.
The nursing home is hit. The fire department's been hit.
Still more damage in Leachville as the twister cut a 100-mile-long path diagonally through northeast Arkansas. Powerful winds swept through Illinois, too, shredding an Amazon warehouse and trapping dozens of workers in Edwardsville. The fire department reports multiple injuries. Anxious relatives fought through the storm to reach the scene.
Yeah, it was lightning bad. We lost power for about 2 hours now, and then my phone died, so it's like I have no idea to get a hold of him. I have no idea what's going on, and we're just worried sick.
And search and rescue operations are ongoing as we speak in multiple communities. The power of this storm incredibly clear. Debris that was part of that Mayfield tornado was seen lifted up as high as 30,000 feet in the air. Peter, Kristen, we'll send it back to you.
All right, so that was Morgan Chesky this morning coming in from the Today Show. Just a terrible, terrible scenario there. Of course, you can see the big storm system continuing to work across the nation's midsection. It's now working into the northeastern United States. That is the same storm system that is going to be moving into our area tonight and tomorrow. It's going to be ushering in a few showers, but the severity, the nastier weather, is going to limit to the north. But I do ask for thoughts, prayers for all of those impacted, because it was a terrible night. I get tornado warnings on my phone, and it was just like rapid fire. And then when you start to see tornado emergency popping up, it lets you know that there is a true emergency playing out. So I did want to start off just by mentioning that, because it is a really big weather event that you're going to be hearing about over the next couple of days. Certainly. Back here at home, let's take a look at the Kennedy Space Center. There's a little bit of ground fog out that way, but as that lifts, it's going to be an absolutely beautiful forecast. That ground fog did lead to, in some areas, dense fog advisory. So if you do have early morning travel plans over the next few moments' time, you can see dense fog advisories in effect for our northern areas. The patchy ground fog is patchy enough in Brevard, the metro, up through Volusia County, that there were no dense fog advisories needed. But let's check in on those visibility numbers here. And you can see over in Titusville, things are fine. 6-mile visibility there. We're at a half-mile visibility in Orlando, about a 5-mile visibility in Claremont, and down to about a half-mile in Palm Coast. The way we look at this graphic is, think of it as perfect 10, whereas anything less than 1 mile is quite hampered in terms of visibility. So just keep that in mind as you make your plans. Crystal, wasn't there a new record for longest on the ground? Nothing is confirmed yet. The storm survey folks haven't gone out to damage survey. They'll do that today. But I do want to point out something kind of interesting. And we were talking a little bit yesterday about the LRC recycle. If we look, give me just 1 second to pull this up. SPC LSR. So this is yesterday's storm reports from the Storm Prediction Center, okay? Let me try and fit that in so that you can see it. So this is yesterday's storm reports, and you can see all those red dots. All of those red dots are tornado reports. All of the blue dots are wind reports, and all of the green dots, there's not many of those. But there were 36 individual tornado reports. That was from December 10th, so that was yesterday, okay? If we compare that to the first version of this LRC cycle, which was October 11th, let's do that. Give me 1 second here. Open in a new tab. Yeah, October 11th. Give me just 1 second. October 11th. All right, so this is that first version of that LRC cycle. So compare, again, you notice where the reports of bad weather were. But you have to remember, October to December, the jet stream is going to sneak a little further south. So there was the October version. There was yesterday's version. It snuck a little further south. So the LRC absolutely playing out correctly. But now we think we've keyed into it, which means we're going to be able to start accurately forecasting storm threats across the country and in our area, all right? Speaking of our area, we know that there's a little bit of fog. We know that it's a relatively quiet setup, but that storm system does approach us. So let's just take a look. Notice through most of the day today, bright sunshine. It's going to be a warm day, my friends. 81 by 1 o'clock, 85 degrees by 3 o'clock this afternoon. And then dinner time through sunset, there will be a few showers. It is not going to be a severe threat. I repeat, it is not going to be a severe threat for us. However, there is going to be the threat of a few showers, okay? Joyce says, praying. David says, my prayers are with everyone that was in the path of that storm indeed. Mike, prayers for Kentucky, worst tornado in history. They do think that this could be among the deadliest tornadoes in Kentucky history, as we heard in Morgan Chesky's report there. Filed this morning for the Today Show. It's terrible. Anytime these happen, and then again, think about using the LRC. We know that this will happen again in February and again in April, okay? So file in the back of our mind, if you've got friends or family around that impacted geography, February is going to be another version of this, and then April will be another version of this. Rita says, my brother and his family are in Henderson, Kentucky. I'm still waiting to hear how they fared. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild to see that. It's terrible to see that. I'm sending nothing, Rita, but positive vibes for you and your family. God, I just hope. Mike, I chased that tornado from when it was a cloud over Little Rock. That's wild. And meteorologist Cam Tren actually sent me, I don't know that I can access this from this computer. Let me see here if I can. This is a 2 a.m. Cam Tran message. And let me see if I can pull this up. I think I can. Yes. Yeah, she sent this to me. Okay. So watch this. This is that cell. Watch how it's going through its genesis phase. Watch how it's just developing. I can't take credit for it, but watch how it's starting to tornado and how everything's starting to fire up around it, and it's going from radar site to radar site, and it's just working and working and working. This, my friends, is what they call a long-track supercell thunderstorm. You can see it's tornado warned over and over and over again. It's eerie to watch it going through all those state lines. It is eerie to know that that is among those awful cells last night that took so many lives. And now that the sun is up, we're just starting to get an idea of the destruction. What a terrible terror. This is why And my wife knows this. This is why I am such a putz when it comes to talking about the weather, because it impacts people. On a sunny day, it's fine, but I will always work to earn your trust. I will always work to be there when you need me the most. And my wife knows it's tough. There's some days where I have to drop what we're doing, drop our plans, to hop on. And Jeannie's sitting right here. Jeannie, thank you for that. I know it's tough. It's tough. In the parenting world, it's tough. But she knows how important I take the weather world. So I truly do appreciate that. And I am saying that because she's sitting here, but it's also, it's very much kind of in this appropriate moment. What was the day number for these storms on the LRC? So if you time it out with the LRC, that would time out to have been, let me get this pulled up. This is the storm reports from yesterday, 12/10. That would time back to November 11th would be the timeline for that, for yesterday's event. So it's about a 59, 60-day LRC cycle this year. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at in terms of that. All right. Now, how does that frontal boundary, how does that storm system impact us? So here we are today. We are in a nice day, but a warm forecast, right? It's going to be highs in the mid-80s. That front moves our direction, brings us a few showers. The severity certainly will not be here, okay? So rest easy today, rest easy tonight, knowing that you're not going to have to deal with that. It is going to be a nicer day tomorrow in terms of temperatures. It's going to be a little bit lower. And then looking ahead to Monday, we're going to keep that mild setup, maybe a sprinkle or two, especially at the East Coast. And then by Tuesday, continuing that nice trend. So let's just peek into the 7-day forecast, and then, of course, we can expand beyond that. Take a look. Mid-80s today, lower 80s tomorrow, upper 70s, and we're kind of continuing that trend. La Nina is starting to play in. You know, these fronts that the BSR indicated are showing up. They're just not making it all the way down here. That's the struggle. Mike says, quad state tornado, EF5 for sure. Prayers for Mayfield. We can't guarantee that it's an EF5. Look, an EF2 can cause death and destruction. They have to go out, and the way that they determine tornado intensity, it's not by looking at it on radar. It's by looking at the damage, doing actual damage surveys. So all the National Weather Service meteorologists from those impacted communities there, okay, they're going in. I swear, if you don't know this, this is a wild thing. They go in and look at the destruction. Acre by acre, mile by mile, town by town. And what they do is they look at the level of destruction. For example, were the leaves sheared off the trees? Or were the branches sheared off the trees? Was the bark sheared off the trees? There is a guide. There is a guide. And, you know, speaking of this, I need to get Tony Cristaldi or somebody from the National Weather Service in to chat about this, because it's something I think all of us would be super fascinated with. But to find out what a damage survey is like from a National Weather Service person. Speaking of which, I'm going to message him right now. Sometimes he watches Coffee Talk, sometimes he doesn't. Tony Cristaldi, hold on one second. Good morning, my friend, comma. It came up on Coffee Talk today, damage surveys, period. Any chance I could borrow you to video call into a Coffee Talk one day to chat about how that works, question mark? All right. No. We'll see. If not him, maybe I could get somebody else. But they go and they look, and that's how they can determine the strength of a tornado and whether or not the tornado lifted up and it became straight line winds or something else to that effect. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Will this system look like, what will this system look like in, say, Connecticut? So as it continues to move up into the northeastern United States, you can see it still has a lot of kick to it. So today when we look to the strength of it, let me just pop up the severe weather threat. Give it just a second. SPC, day 1. Bear with me, my friends. Here's the SPC day 1 outlook. All right, so the way that this works, give it a second, it's going to zoom in and then we'll zoom it back out. Or I have to zoom it back in. I hit the wrong button. So the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. So the way that this works is this is where the Storm Prediction Center zeroes in on threats for severe weather. Notice the threat for severe weather is down around Atlanta. Northeast, not as bad. There's an isolated risk of a strong to severe storm today, but mainly from about Jackson through, central Mississippi, central to northern Alabama. So Huntsville, Birmingham, back over toward Atlanta, Nashville. That's going to be the corridor today for a few scattered strong to severe storms. But it's not going to be all that bad once it gets into the Northeast, okay? So at least there's that. Alexander, what's the matter? Just can't make that boy happy today. Just can't make that boy happy today. So that's kind of where we're at. But we are transitioning into a winter type pattern, okay? Which means it is becoming more of a winter event in the northeastern United States, which is a good time to mention. We are now 10 days away from the winter solstice, believe it or not. Yeah, 10 days away. Barbara Ford, have had no luck contacting my son in Clarksville, Tennessee. I'm sure that people in these impacted areas are just being flooded with phone calls. At this point, it's not an appropriate time certainly to worry, but just reach out, do what you got to do, right? Allie says prayers for all in states affected moved to North Tennessee, and it was an awful night. Well, and again, Allie, it's going to be the same idea in February, early February, and in early April as this LRC cycle repeats. Yeah. Those are going to be windows. Climatologically, that early April one is going to be the worst. But even in early February, you'll have to watch. Okay? Shauna says, I'm waiting to see how many FEMA workers will be needed. I'll definitely go if I am needed. Can't imagine what these people are experiencing. And right around the holidays, when the weather's getting colder, certainly anyone that's impacted is just terrible. Donna says they're calling this tornado the Quad State Tornado. Just one tornado went to 4 different states over 246 miles. Yeah. Not out of the woods yet. It's moving through the plateau now. Very windy and rainy. Yeah, it's true. So if you take those dates, and let's just look at the LRC. All right. So let's just look based on a 58-ish day cycle. Okay. So yesterday was. Let's just slide this over. So if yesterday, Stella, calm down. December 11th. Let's just do this. If yesterday was December 11th, that would be cycle day 5. So give me a minute. Do cycle day 5. Bless you, Alexander. So based on that, okay? Oh. Cycle day 5. So let's just look and see when that will recycle. So there's December 11th or so. So based on that, my friends, the next cycle of that is going to be February 7th, okay? And then beyond February 7th is going to be April 6th. So those dates, around those dates, if the LRC plays out the way that we think it will, February 7th and April 6th, you'll see a storm system very similar to this with severe weather threats very similar to this. If you live in those impacted areas, put that in your phone. Even if you don't, put that in your phone. Let's just try and time it out and see how it plays out, because that's where I think we'll take this.
I forgot the name. He said it.
I was watching that setup since yesterday morning, Patty says, and was so worried about what was going to happen. I'm so very sad it did actually play out as it potentially looked like it would, and even worse. Yeah, I was texting back and forth with several meteorologist friends, just kind of like, can you believe what you're seeing? Like a debris signature is just so bad. Donna says, good morning from Cookeville, Tennessee. It's been a rough night. Horrible tornado in my area. We are still under a tornado watch until 11 a.m. Very windy and rainy. So much devastation and loss. It's terrible. Mercy says, yes, we want to learn about all that. How do they do the damage survey? I think that it would be interesting, right? Kim, will fronts not making it this far south have an impact on hurricane season? It depends if the La Nina setup continues all the way into the summer. Brian says, after the 98 tornadoes, we took some NOAA folks up in our helicopter to help with their Oh, with their determination, right. It was interesting to watch the process, sure. And remember, Brian, that has expanded so much more since '98. Now they're onto the enhanced Fujita scale, and just for reference, if you're not familiar, and I know we've got that graphic somewhere in here, if you are not familiar with what we're talking about when we talk about Fujita scale and all of that stuff, I know I have a graphic because I made the thing. There it is. This is the enhanced Fujita scale, okay? So in the coming days and weeks, you're going to be hearing about this. Was it, somebody had said it had to be an EF5, and it's like, no, it didn't have to be an EF5, but this is kind of the idea. The pictures are there strictly for reference. An EF0 is what we usually see in central Florida, the weaker tornadoes with winds of 65 to 85 miles an hour. Then you get into an EF1, winds pick up, it becomes a more damaging scenario. And remember, this is different for manufactured homes versus concrete block versus wood frame homes, house damaged. So we know, for example, just looking at the video, that buildings were lost significantly. So you're already looking in that EF2, EF3 category. You're just looking in that vicinity. Could it be more? We'll have to see. And so that's where the guide comes in as they go out and survey. And it could be that it's, parts of it were in EF2, parts of it were in EF1, parts of it were in EF3, 4, there could be just little climaxes where it tightened up and then it loosened back up. So that's the deal. And you may have heard me reference a tornado emergency. I don't think ever used that in Central Florida. But if you're not familiar with this, it's so important to remember. A tornado watch, that means conditions are favorable. Okay, that means that there could be a tornado develop. Okay, we get that a lot, especially during tropical systems and during those winter and spring cold fronts that have a lot of oomph to them. Okay, a watch means it's time to start watching. Okay, think of it like you're cooking dinner. A watch means you've got your ingredients together, but you haven't done anything yet. A warning, means we're cooking dinner. A warning means either on radar or by police or storm spotters or some credible way, we think that there's a tornado happening. A warning means we're warning you it's happening, okay? Take action. A tornado emergency, which there were some last night, means not only do we know it's happening, but it is heading right to a big population center or it is going to impact people. Think of a tornado emergency. It's a fairly new influence, okay? It's a fairly new moniker, but the overall idea for a tornado emergency is it's happening. It's going to hit people. You've got to, we're throwing up the red flag, swinging it and praying to God people listen, okay? So that's the idea there, okay? That's the tornado emergency. All right? At least with hurricanes, we have a chance to prepare and evacuate, Shauna says. Tornadoes have always scared me, especially at night or rain-wrapped, which is why I do my darndest to keep you up to date, which is why the entire First Warning Weather team does our darndest to keep you up to date. It is so important. We work hard for you. Because when it does happen, we have at least an idea that the pattern is there. I mean, yesterday we knew that there was going to be a threat for severe weather. But does it play out the way you think? Like, that's where the question mark comes in, right? That's the idea. All right? Susie says today's our 45th anniversary, but it's hard to be celebratory with so much devastation. You celebrate, Susie. There's always something tough going on in the world. You need to celebrate yourself. But it's a good idea to also remember how lucky you are and how these other people have been so terribly impacted. So that's okay. I think it's okay, but you need to celebrate you. 45th wedding anniversary? My God. If we make it 45 years without Jeannie killing me, then I think that that's something to celebrate. Right? Eric says, it would be interesting to learn how National Weather Service determines strength of a tornado. Yeah, agreed. Very, very heartbreaking. Indeed. Yep. Why are we talking tornadoes, Maureen? Because there was a terrible tornado outbreak last night where over 100 are feared dead. It's that storm system there, moved through Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, and there's a threat today to see more severe weather. So yeah, the good news is it's that same front that's moving our direction, but it will not bring us severe weather. What it is going to help to do, though, is it is going to help to drop our temperatures just a little bit. That's not the graphic I was looking for. Hold on. This is the graphic I was looking for. Sorry. Today, record highs are going to be in jeopardy if you live in Sanford or Leesburg because the records are low enough. In Orlando, that is not a record in jeopardy. Back in 1919, we hit 90 degrees on this date. Today, we will hit 85. But you get the idea. Today, we are still above average, but as that storm system moves into our area, it is going to help to drop things just a little bit. All right? Tornadoes last night, unfortunately, yeah. Lots of hurting people this morning. It's so true. So, as somebody who's been involved with the Red Cross for most of my adult life, I will always say, consider donating to the Red Cross or any of these other organizations that do good work, okay? That do good work. All right. Are there any more threats of tornadoes in the system in the central U.S.? It's on the move. So as it continues to move off toward the east, the central U.S. is experiencing high pressure building in, so things are looking quieter and quieter. Yeah, that's good news, right? But we'll have plenty to watch over the coming days and weeks. Yeah. Is that including Connecticut? For Connecticut, it's going to be a stormy day, but the threat of severe weather does not look to be significant there. Yeah. All right. All right. So, that said, we're still kind of on par for, I just wanted to take a look. Give me a minute to dial this up. Want to take a look at, we'll dial you up. All right, let's get our GFS model together. I do want to check in with our Christmas forecast. Again, we've been talking a lot about the Christmas forecast for a while now. Do that. Put you there. Want to get into the raw computer models for then. All right. So let's take a look. This is the raw GFS. December 12th. A little front moving through. So the BSR showed a front around the 15th, but it's not really wanting to do much. There it is on the 16th. It's a day late. Does not make it to us. Then as we get here to about December 20th or so, you could see moisture bubbling, big storm system, big chill out in Texas, okay? So as that moisture out in the Gulf of Mexico is bubbling up, it moves through. It looks like by the 22nd, 23rd, we're going to get a big chill, okay? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. If we look at our long-range forecast for Christmas, all right, we've got a cold front around December 23rd, and then Christmas Eve and Christmas Day look nice. That's what we said a while ago, all right? So if we take that and just kind of look into our forecast, there's December 22nd, 23rd. You can see that front pushing south. The 540 line, which if you're a weather nerd, you know that's kind of the real cold air. It's getting further enough to the south that it's, we've got a nice cool stretch of weather there. And then continuing into Christmas, we're not looking bad at all. Looks like a really nice forecast. That's the 27th. Another nice cold stretch, but look at how far the snow gets into the Smokies there. Yeah, into the Tennessee mountains. That's cool. That's around the 27th, 28th. Another storm system there. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Kind of playing out the way the LRC would dictate based on the cycle duration that we believe there is. So everything's good. Everything's good. Anybody have any questions before we wrap up for the day? Any questions, comments, concerns? Last year we had a strong line of severe storms come through Marion County in Florida on December. Yeah, right. And probably will as well. The thing that we're trying to time out on the LRC is it the storm system that comes in before Christmas or just after Christmas? That's what I'm trying, that's what I'm trying to kind of zero in on. Yeah, just trying to figure out which front is the stronger front. And that's why this time of year, zeroing in on the LRC is a very difficult thing. And then once we zero in on the cycle duration, that's when I can then start working on my monthly forecasts and in turn continue that out to be the hurricane forecast. Yeah. Bob, are there meteorologists that monitor the LRC in Tennessee and Kentucky? Not that I'm aware of, Bob. Not that I'm aware of. No, there's only like 5 of us, give or take. Yeah. All right. All right. Jan says NBC starting to show photos of the destruction. Not good. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. All right. So high temperatures at least breaking the heat bubble just a little bit these next couple of days. But it's still warmer than average. Normal highs in the mid-70s. We're going to go from the mid-80s to like the lower 80s. Then we're going to build back in. This is a La Nina setup. We just need to get those fronts to move back in. All indicators are that we do get that by Christmas. Okay, until then, it's not. But all indications is that we do get that by Christmas. For now, it's looking like Christmas will trend cooler. I would love that. Would you? We're going to be posting updates throughout the day about our local forecast and, of course, keeping eyes on what's going on up to our north where there was that awful line of strong to severe storms that moved through overnight. Many, many, many feared dead, unfortunately. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. All right? Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you tomorrow.